about marketing resource. We're going to be talking about this from the admin point of view today. So we're going to point out a couple of things that we can do for the agents and other things that are available, at least for management and things like that, if you're helping out as well. Give me just a second to share my screen here, and then we'll go ahead and get started. Feel free to stop me or interrupt me at any time if you have any questions about this. You can either raise your hand, unmute, or throw something in chat if you have any questions as we go along. Otherwise, I'll take some Q&A at the end. So the marketing resource is the one-stop online location for marketing materials from BHHS Global on the national level. It is found on the BHHS Resource Center. You can get to the BHHS Resource Center 3 ways. One, you can log in directly with a username or password. Everyone has one. Or the easier way is to log in from BHHS Resource here on the quick links on the homepage of Town Central, or on the resources side over here on the left of Town Central. These are SSOs or single sign-ons, which means no username and password is required if you log in through Town Central. It will automatically take you straight through to BHHS Resource. Just for the sake of time today and to make sure I logged in as an agent, I've gone ahead and logged in already. And here you can see that I'm logged in as an agent. And I want you to see that marketing resources right here on that quick links on the main page of BHHS Resource Center. If I go ahead and click this button, it's going to go ahead and take me straight into BHHS resource, marketing resource. It does open a new window. Just be prepared for that. If there is a pop-up blocker, it may say, do you want to open this window or something like that? Just go ahead and say yes, but it does open a new window for this. So the marketing resource has an entire library of video, audio, print, e-cards, social media graphics, e-newsletters, online presentations, and even mobile and desktop advertising in it. So it really is a one-stop location to be able to send out all of your marketing materials. It is also tied into the MLS. So if you are working on marketing a property, maybe sending out a just listed e-card or an open house e-card, or if you're building a flyer, you are able to go ahead and just choose the listing and it'll automatically populate all that information without having to upload everything and copy and paste all the verbiage and things like that into the system. So it is MLS enabled. It is also MLS enabled to all the MLSs that we subscribe to. So if a listing is coming out of Williamsburg or coming out of Seabrar, or if it's coming out of Rain, wherever it happens to be, it is actually available in this system. And just to be aware of all of that. All of the things in here are customizable. They are set up as templates to make sure that everything always looks great, but we are able to go ahead and customize a lot of photos and text. We are able to add video to things to be able to send out. So the system is all encompassing and it's a great piece for marketing. I'm going to go ahead and go through the navigation bar at the top. I'm also going to go through the main dashboard so that you can see what it looks like. And then I'll take you into how to create an e-card so that you can see how the system will work. So going across the top here, I want you to notice that we have a library. So this library is split into two sections. One is the master library and one is my library. This library button here takes you to the exact same spot that this search bar would right here. And I want you to notice that on the search bar, you have the master library or my library options. Now, one of the top questions we get in marketing would be, I created an e-card and I can't find it. And it's usually because the system defaults to searching the master library, and anything that might be created by an agent would actually be located in their library instead. So it's going to be in a slightly different section on here. If I go ahead and click that library tab here up at the top, and again, that search bar works exactly the same way. I did want you to notice that it goes to the master library as a default. That master library, again, is all that global network marketing materials. Everything that's been created by BHHS is located in this master library. If I click my library over here, you'll see all the things that this agent has created. So in this case, they've sent out some New Year's cards. Here's an upload of some homes that they did. They sent out some Thanksgiving cards. It looks like they might have thought about two different Thanksgiving cards here and they decided to send one out versus the other. And there's some property flyers in here that have been created. You can kind of see all of this stuff that is down here. And even here is a digital ad that's already been created and is running over in AdWorks for this agent. An e-card, lots of different uploads, lots of different styles. Here's one for the luxury collection. Lots of different things in here. So if I were to go back over to that master library, again, that's all the stuff that is available from BHHS. You can see that it's going to be all encompassing. It's going to put everything in here. The most recent things are going to be up here at the top, or the most popular. So we're coming up with things for Mardi Gras, President's Day, Valentine's Day is coming up here. They have things for just about every holiday and a lot of those national days in here, as well as very specific things for different markets. So they would have things for just listed, just sold. They would have things for LGBTQ and luxury and resort marketing. You would have just generic things to send out, newsletters, all sorts of things that you can print. So this can be a bit overwhelming. So I do want to show you how you can start to segment some of this out and how you can search for things. Let's use that search bar. This search bar here works exactly the same way as the search bar on that main page, but maybe I was looking for something to send out for Valentine's Day, since that's really the next holiday coming up. I'm just going to put Valentine in that search bar, and I'm going to hit the search. And it's going to start to segment that out. Notice that it just took everything out of here that didn't have anything to do with Valentine's Day. And then here we can see all the different things that are in the system. Now, the nice thing about this system is it does grow. So you'll see in here some cards that were available like 3 years ago. If an agent didn't use it, totally okay to go back and use that e-card. If it's an e-card that they love to use, you can use it over and over again. You'll also notice that there's different types of things in here, and they're all labeled. So you'll want to see something like this. This is an e-card. Here's an Instagram story. Here's a square social image you might use on Instagram or Facebook. Here is a social image that's designed to be used with a link over to a website. So this is a social image that's specially designed for that. Here's a different e-card, a different Instagram story. So they're giving you lots of options. Oh, here's our favorite recipe card that you can send out. Again, these are e-cards. You'll be able to see all the different types of things that are available and their classifications in here. If you're looking for something very specific, maybe it's a really big category and you know that you want to limit it to just an e-card, you can also segment things out by type. So if you'll notice over here on the left-hand bar, it's going to actually give you lots and lots of different options where you can start to segment this out even more. So if I click on type here, notice that it's limited right now to an e-card and social media because that's all that's available for Valentine's Day. If I click e-card, it's going to take all those social images away, and it's just going to go ahead and give me the e-cards that are available for Valentine's Day. So I'm going to go back and just clear this out so that we can go back to the master library for a second. This is everything that's available. I want you to notice that we have so many more types. So as we go deeper into the system, it's going to limit it to what might be available for that search term already. But if we're looking for something overall, we have lots of different types in here that we can segment it out by. Maybe it's an ad, something that's printable, a brochure that's printable, a card that's printable, documents or door hangers, e-cards, e-newsletters, flyers, images, all sorts of things. Different types of ads, different types of presentations, printable newsletters. There's a difference in here between a printable item and an e-item, which can be either emailed, or a print item, which can only be printed. And then, of course, down to social media, web banner, videos, all sorts of things in here. So those are our types. Under our topics, we can have different things like branding or education. For those of you who might be working with your managers on doing things like recruiting and things like that, we do have an entire series on prospecting available in here. Here's another one on recruiting. We have things available for resort properties, luxury properties, only things that are video ready. So e-cards that can have a video uploaded into them. You might have seen those when we do our marketing minutes. Those are video enabled e-cards. You're also able to segment it out by the different owners and sharing options. And then for those agents who need things in different languages, you're also able to pull out all of the different language cards in here as well and be able to segment it out by the different language types that are available. All right, so if I were to look for something like a newsletter, for example, I could either use the type in here to find it, or I'm going to use that search bar. And I'm going to type in newsletter. And it's going to bring up all the newsletters in the system. And I use this category because I want to show you the difference between a printable item and an emailable item. So you'll notice on here that they've really put it into the title that this is the talking points, or these little articles that are available for February of 2022. This is a printable newsletter. If we were to go ahead and build this out and create it and then try to send it as an e-card, it wouldn't work. because it's not emailable. It's a printable newsletter. We've had this happen before where an agent was to look up like a just listed card and they went ahead and filled it in, didn't realize it was only an e-card and it couldn't be printed, or they picked up a printed one and it couldn't be emailed. And then we have to kind of start that process over again. You'll notice that we do have some that are labeled e-newsletter though. These are able to be sent out as e-cards. It's the exact same content, it's just in a different format. So these are printable. And of course, this one is labeled as e-newsletter here. And you'll see the difference between printable and printable and e throughout the system. One of the other reasons I like to pull up this category, just to give you kind of a sneak preview of what one of these newsletters looks like. These articles that come out, there's 4 that come out every single month. They are tied to the campsite calendar. So for those of you who have taken my IQ system training, you know that the campsite calendar is a complete communications and marketing calendar that's available for agents. And one of the things that they encourage is once a week to go ahead and post one of these articles on their social media. They even include social media graphics that go with the article. Agents can take all of these different articles in the system and they can go ahead and load them up to their website. They can put them on their blog. They can put them directly on social media if they want to. They can change some of the verbiage in here. They can add their own local spin or their own ideas. They can change it from first person to third person, whichever they'd like to do. This content is available for them for free. If you have ever seen what the prices are for copyrighted content, you know that they're really, really high, and it's nice that BHHS provides us with 4 quality contents that are changeable every month. The nice thing about the e-newsletters as well, for those who are looking for content, or maybe they haven't sent anything out before and they want to start, they do keep an archive of a lot of the different newsletters in here. So you are able to go back and look at old content and be able to pull that forward and again and share it on your social media, put it on your website, whatever you'd like to do with it. So here's one about luxury down bedding, and here's one about, is it time to build your luxury home? And just another couple of quick topics here just so you can see what they look like. Here's one on homeownership, hedges against inflation, and student loans and home buying. Certainly 2 very, very hot topics right now. And that actually came from March 2021, so we're still talking about it. So that's available in here as well. So those are the difference between that's the difference between the master library and the My Library section. And that's how you can go ahead and segment that out. So that covers that library button up here at the top. I want to go over here to contacts. If I go ahead and click contacts again, it's going to open a new window. And this contacts area allows you to either upload individual contacts or import contacts. You can also segment all of these contacts into groups. A person who is a contact can belong to more than one group. I will show you how that works actually in this agent contact list in here, because they actually have groups that are set up, so you can kind of see what that looks like. If I wanted to go ahead and add a contact to the system, so just a single contact, I can add contact up here at the top. And it's going to bring up this card that allows me to put some information in. So it's going to look for a name and first name, last name, and an email address. It does want an email address because otherwise the system doesn't work in order to send things out. So you're going to have to put an email address in that system. You do have the ability to have other fields in here. Notice that a lot of these fields are really similar to what we have in Town Central. So if somebody were to do an export from Town Central and want to import those contacts up here into Marketing Resource, they can actually do more than just the first name and last name and email address. They can actually fill in a lot of these other fields as well. One of the most unknown things here is that you can have custom fields if you need it. So if an agent were looking to do a custom field, like maybe what neighborhood they belong to or something like that, they could actually put a custom field in here as well. They also have the ability for a second contact name and second email address in here. And then here's where we get to that groups. This particular agent has a couple of groups that are set up, so it's a nice example. In those 807 contacts she has them broken out into a couple of different categories. She has her agent contacts, so that's going to be for her networking sphere. So that's going to be sending out things like just listeds to other agents and working with her agent networking groups. Something called bad email addresses. So the system does identify email addresses when they've bounced. She's actually segmented them out here, and I'm assuming that's so that she can go back and try to find a good email address for some of these people. She has one for holiday cards. She has one that is called migrated leads and contacts. That means it's probably something she uploaded and she just wanted to remember where it came from. And then of course she has her SOI or sphere of influence in here. You can easily add another group. You can do it right now, or you can do it when you import a group of contacts. And again, a contact can belong to more than one group. If I were adding this person here, I could add them to both my agent contacts. Maybe they also live in my neighborhood, so they're going to be in my sphere of influence. So that contact can go into either one of these groups. You have a couple of options once you're finished entering all that information for that single person. You can either add it, and if you click that button, it'll bring you up to a brand new card, so you can add another contact, or you can hit add and close, which will go ahead and close out this window if you only have one person to add. I'm going to go ahead and hit cancel on this one in this case. But I also want to note that you can import contacts, so you can do this as a big group. If you wanted to import contacts, it's going to ask you for that Excel spreadsheet or that CSV file. You're going to browse it. You're going to go ahead and bring it into the system. I'm not going to go through this whole import contacts piece today, but do know that the steps for this would be to map the fields. So for example, if your Excel spreadsheet in the header had a field name as first name all together, maybe it was one word. This system in here uses first name as two different words, and it's just going to say, is this data the same as this data? You're going to say yes, and you'll be able to map the different fields if they have different names before it goes in. It's going to ask how you want to handle the duplicates. So it's going to ask you, do you want to amend the people that are already in here that might be on this list? Do you want to delete them? Do you want to overwrite them? Do you not want to do anything with this? It's going to ask you how you want to handle any duplicates that you might be uploading that are already in your contacts. It's going to allow you to select a group. So if you want to take these contacts and move them into their own group, you can create that at that time, or you can select groups that you have already created and add them to those groups at that time, so you don't have to do it individually. And the last step for this is going to be a confirm and import. You're just going to say, is this what you really want to do? It's going to go through your whole steps. It's going to kind of show you what you've done. And then it's going to ask you to import. The nice thing about this step is it's going to actually show you how many contacts have been able to be imported and if there's any errors with any. So this would be something like an email address that wasn't formatted correctly. Maybe you forgot the .com on it, or maybe there was a space in there that shouldn't be there. Maybe it was a contact who didn't have an email address. In that case, it wouldn't be able to import that contact. They do have a section where you can download that list. If you're doing this for an agent, I always encourage you to go ahead and download that and send it to them and say, these were the bad contacts, because they might be something real. It might be somebody who's really important to them. That way they can go ahead and correct those entries on there. I'm going to go back to that little groups section over here, and I do want you to notice this button called shared groups. I wish they would make this brighter and bolder in here, but here it is, called shared groups. This agent in particular doesn't have a shared group, but for those of you who are admins or managers, you may have access to shared groups that the company has provided. And for some of our offices, you actually have shared groups as well that are in the system. So this might be a shared group to be able to send to everybody in your office. This might be a shared group for a particular networking group within your office. It might be a shared group, especially on the admin side, for recruiting prospects or something like that, that has been shared with you from another account. So if you're looking for a group that has been shared that you have access to, it is under that little shared group button on there. And again, I wish they made this bolder and brighter, but it is right here under the groups, under the local groups that are available in here. So there's that shared groups. I'm going to go ahead and close out this contact section, and we'll keep going here. The next bar over is the upload. You do have the ability to upload things into the system without having to do any creation. So for example, maybe an agent has a coming soon listing they might be sending out, or they have a listing that's coming up that they want to upload some files that might not be in the MLS. Maybe they're extra photos or something like that, or maybe a video that's been created that's not in the MLS, and they're going to add it to their e-card. You can always go ahead and upload things and just hold them here for the future without actually having to go through the whole build process. We probably use this more in marketing than anybody else would, but the option is there to just go ahead and preload something if somebody's just trying to get something out of the way. You do have some help options. Like everything else in BHHS resource, they have an entire knowledge base available to you about this entire tool. It is all searchable. So if you're looking for something like how to add contacts, you can put contacts up here in the search bar, and it's going to bring up all the articles that are available on just adding contacts in here. Their topics, let me let this load here real quick, do contain things like the customer support, how to change the profile, all the different libraries, managing information, how to do multiple users, how to log out, how to upload things, how to find content. All of this is available here in the knowledge base. If you've taken some of my other classes on BHHS Resource Center, you know that this giant turquoise button exists on every single page in BHHS Resource. It doesn't matter what tool you're in. If you click that, it's going to bring you to the customer success team at BHHS. This is at global headquarters. These people are real and they are live. This does change based on who is on call right now. You can call them. You'll get the exact same people. They'll just be on the phone. You can also email them. This comes in handy if you have to CC an agent or if you're CCing your manager on something, or you're able to direct chat with them as well. So just enter your first name, last name, town realty, where your office is located, phone number and email, and just ask them a question here and they'll do some live chat. So for example, if you can't remember how to access the shared groups, when you come back in here and you need help finding it, either use that self-help database in here, or you can say, I can't find my shared groups. Do you know where they're located? If you hit start chatting, they'll know what page you're on and they will help you find your groups for you. So they're a wonderful resource in here and they are experts at this entire system. I'm not going to go fully into this today because this is another class that we have to do because it just takes a little bit to set up, but the system does support drip campaigns now, and this started last year. This agent has not set up their drip campaigns yet, so I don't have any to show, but it does have things like major holidays, recipe cards, eco-green kind of cards and things like that that are more of a set it and forget it type of drip campaign that's available, but they are available in the system now. We'll probably do this as a future Blitz class, but just know that it's available in the system. And how to set that up if you need it in the meantime is also available in the help section. And there's also an entire section dedicated to drip campaigns in the Learn Center 2.0. I'm just going to go back to my homepage here, and I will show you the rest of the homepage dashboard so that you can see where everything is. Again, that search bar works exactly the same as the library. If I were to put Valentine's in here, it would search for everything for Valentine's Day in the master library, and it's going to take me right back to that master library. You can search right from here for any topic, any type, or anything that you might need. The next button down is that Forever Agent Real Estate and Planning Guide. This is given its own section because it is customizable by not only the agent, but it's also able to be customized per client. This is a wonderful book that is part of that Forever Agent program. So that program that recognizes the agent should be the real estate expert for life, just out and not just from consultation to close. So this is something that an agent could give out as an item of value for those of you who might be doing Buffini in your office, or if they're looking to be able to give out a really wonderful resource and guide when working with buyers or sellers, or even their sphere of influence, that's available for them right here. The marketing resource is segmented out into different sections. So this would be things like marketing a property. So this is going to go into those e-cards for just listed, just sold, open houses, anything that would be MLS enabled that you would want to bring in. This would be things like door hangers. This would be things like postcards that can be printed or flyers that can be printed. I'm going to stop here on that note about being printed. I do want to remind you, especially if you've taken my previous classes before about BHHS Resource and Town Central and the difference between the two of them, that if an agent were to create something like a postcard or a door hanger or a flyer in here and ask it to be printed through this system, it will go through ExpressDocs. So, but this goes through the ExpressDocs version that is global on the national level. So it's the same company, but a slightly different product than what we have available through Town Central. The big difference for here would be that if an agent was looking for their marketing credit given by the company and they went through this to create their postcard or their flyer, it would not show up at that checkout at the end. We have to be able to do that through the ExpressDocs button on Town Central to make sure that it goes to our version of it, that we have control of some local settings for it. So just reminded, it's totally okay to put orders out through the BHHS resource, marketing resource if you want to, if there's no intention to use any of that marketing credit or if there just isn't one left over or anything else like that, totally fine to use it in here, but just know that if they're looking for that marketing credit in particular, it's only available through the Town Central version of ExpressDocs that's in here. The next category is marketing yourself. So those are going to be things like e-cards, anything that has to do with marketing and communications. It's going to be your social media images. It's going to be those e-newsletters. It's going to be about brand promotion, promoting yourself. Under here for people who are in management or staff, you'll also find the recruiting and prospecting cards about marketing yourself. So yourself includes not only the person as an agent, but marketing yourself as a brand and an agency as well. Under specialty marketing, this is the same as a lot of those chatter groups we already talked about with BHHS Resource. This is where you'll find everything from the equestrians, the luxuries, LGBTQ, senior, military, multicultural diversity, any of the specialty marketing niche markets that BHHS has available. They have marketing specific to those, and that's where it's found under those categories. So a couple of small buttons here. We do have something called admin access. You would think that that would have to do with our admins, but it does not. This actually grants somebody access to be able to use your account. So for an agent, for example, who might have an assistant that might need to log in as them. So if Gail were to have an assistant here and need that person is in our roster anyway, and they need access to be able to log in as Gail, to be able to send out things on her behalf, she can actually assign a user in here to have admin access to her account. It does really come in handy for those assistants. The next button over is Video Cast by Social Boost. Remember, Video Cast is the new product that has taken over from Videolicious. It is a video product that helps to stitch together videos with all sorts of BHHS branding to be able to push that out on all sorts of social media, into e-cards and things like that. What this button does is it allows the agent to access the VideoCast by Social Boost product specifically for BHHS. You can get the VideoCast by Social Boost product out on the web, and it's generic, but if they want the VideoCast by Social Boost that is specifically branded and is specifically designed for BHHS, this is where you would go ahead and get that link. And then remember, I said last but not least, you have the ability to do mobile and desktop ads in here. So this is fairly recent. It just came out in the last couple of months, where you can actually build mobile and desktop ads, and you can do one of two things in here. You can either send those ads that have been created over to AdWorks into your AdWorks account, and you can go ahead and run those as your Sphere ads, recruiting ads. You can send those out as ads to zip codes and things like that. Also, BHHS has a contract with another company called Chalk Digital. They've been partners with them for a number of years. Chalk Digital is really similar to things like AdWorks, Boost by HomeSpotter, any of those other companies that we've worked with to do those mobile and desktop ads and social media ads. It's just a different vendor. It is totally okay to run ads out of here and use Chalk Digital instead of using AdWorks and Boost by HomeSpotter. It just depends on what the agent is comfortable with. They all work about the same way. They just might have different impressions, different prices, different reach. And it really just depends, again, on what an agent might be comfortable with and what you might want to use. If I continue to scroll down here, it's going to show me all sorts of new things and trending campaigns that are available in the system. So in this case, yesterday or the day before, my days are all coming together this week, we launched at BHHS the For Life luxury collection called The Beauty Inside. It's a brand new campaign for BHHS, and it talks about buying homes that resonate on the inside, because so many people are now spending so much time at home. The way people are shopping for homes has completely changed. A lot of it is about the lifestyle on the inside, not just the outside, because of how much time we're spending at home. A lot of people are now 100% remote. People are still spending a fair amount of time very locally, and they're talking about the ways that you can make that home yours on the inside. It's a great campaign. Can't wait to see what it does. But here's all the new marketing materials that go with it. For those of you who are doing recruiting and retention and prospecting, here we have some new recruiting cards that just came out dealing with the Forever Agent program. Here we have those AdWorks or Chalk Digital ads that relate to that new campaign that we have. Here's some e-cards, and of course, it just keeps going with more and more brand content. You'll see this change all the time. This was just released, again, I believe this was released yesterday. If they go and release a new video, you'll see that here as the newest piece of brand marketing campaign. So this is changing and updating all the time. The next category down is trending videos. Well, there's the video for the For Life luxury collection, Beauty Inside. This, of course, is able to be used in an e-card. We can send this to social media. We're allowed to use this on a corporate level. We can use this for our luxury collection program. You'll also notice that some other videos that are trending right now, the mission statement for Berkshire Hathaway Home Services, another great piece to put out there. The halo effect of working with Berkshire Hathaway. Some of these are things like the Sizzle story and the new real estate report Sizzle. That real estate report that just came out is amazing. It gives trends and prospects for 2022. Fabulous piece to put on your website, fabulous piece to put out there in social media, great to share at sales meetings and things like that. That new real estate report is really amazing. And then even it has things like the behind the listing. This was an HDTV quality video that was put together as part of the luxury series that actually goes through, I believe this one is a luxury development in Toronto, and it talks to the agent, it talks to the company, and it talks about the new listing and new development that's coming up there. They've done a bunch of these behind the listings that didn't necessarily have to do with new developments. Some of them are actually just luxury properties. They're really nice and they're all shareable. We can put all of this out on social media. There's those desktop and mobile ads I was talking about, and you'll be able to see all the different versions here. So these are able to be sent to AdWorks and Chalk Digital. If you see something like this that says mobile and desktop ad, it means that it could be downloaded and actually sent to a different third-party company. So for an agent who might be used to using Google Ads on their own, or might want to run something on their own, they do have the ability to download here. But all of these others that are marked as Chalk Digital and AdWorks are specifically designed to be run on the AdWorks or Chalk Digital campaigns. And you can see how many different types there are in here. In addition to the just listed, just sold, open house, all that other kind of thing, they also have a lot of branding in here. I love this. They had a whole holiday series. If you just wanted to run holiday ads in December, you could have done that. They have a lot of ads for overcoming objections, one about moving with your pets. Of course, this is my favorite. And then also things that just tug at your heartstrings. Are you ready to are you ready to be on your first step to your real estate journey? This is obviously talking to first-time home buyers here. So there's really ads for everyone. You can also download and change these as often as you'd like. AdWorks has been great to work with for us as far as changing the messaging fairly often if an agent would like to. And last but certainly not least, all the way down here at the bottom, we have my recent content. So this is going to be things that the agent has created. So in this case, we have an e-card that was unpublished. I just created this in my last class, and it's going to tell me I haven't sent this out yet, so it's going to be unpublished. Here was the New Year's card. Here's another New Year's card that was published, and then here's some JPEGs that were uploaded. I believe it keeps the top 10 recent contents in here. And so if an agent was looking for something very specific, I created an e-card the other day, I can't find it, it's going to be in that my recent content down here, especially if they didn't give it a name that was very searchable. All right, real quick look here. We're going to just take a quick look at what an e-card looks like, and that way you can see what the whole system looks like when you're trying to build something in here. I'm going to go in here to my marketing a property library, and I'm going to be able to pull in some information. I want you to notice that we have all sorts of things in here for marketing a property. So there's those door hangers, those postcards, flyers, things that are printable, even Instagram stories and social media images that are all customizable for a property. A lot of this is just looking at the layout. So for example, if I wanted to do an e-card, I'm going to go ahead and segment this out to an e-card just so I can eliminate everything else that's in here. All right, here's all my e-cards for my marketing of property. And really, you're just looking at the layout. I do want you to note in here that unless it says flexible, which this one doesn't, it is going to require you to put those 3 images in here, and it is going to require you to put that text in here. So if you're dealing with a property, for example, maybe it's a new construction and we only have a rendering and an aerial. That's all we have on it. We don't have a third photo at all. This would not be the right e-card to use because it is going to require you to put in that third photo before you can send it. The system will not let you send something that's not complete just to make sure it looks perfect when it goes out. The other thing too is that you can use these just listed cards or just sold cards or whatever you want to in here, and you can change these words. So it doesn't have to be just listed. It can be just reduced. It can be open house. It can be whatever you want it to be. These are just placeholders. So really you're just looking at this as a design. Don't think you have to use this for just listed. You can use it for anything. I'm going to go ahead and pick an e-card here that has 2 photos. I'm going to do this just sold one, but I'm going to turn it into an open house one. So I'm going to go ahead and click that. And here I can see my preview, make sure this is something I want to send. It's going to tell me a couple of things here. It is MLS enabled. Remember I said this connects to the MLS so that we can go ahead and choose a property to be put in here. It's also telling me it's video enabled. That means that if I have a video, maybe I got a walkthrough video from my videographer when I took this listing, I can upload a video in here instead of having a static photo. Unless you see video enabled and MLS enabled on an e-card when you do that preview, it means it's not available. So do take a look at that if you need it. I'm going to go ahead and hit getting started. I'm going to turn this into 1234 Main Street in this case and hit continue. The way you customize everything in the system is exactly the same. So over here on the right-hand side, it's going to give us our preview area. You're going to note that it's going to have some different check marks and different warnings on it. Green means that this is good to go. It means that that the verbiage has been changed, the photo has been changed, whatever it happens to be. And yellow means that it's not going to send out this card until you do something with that box. I want to show you a quick text change here. Remember, I said I was going to turn this into an open house card. It didn't need to be just sold. Anytime you see these check marks, it also means you can change something. So if I go in here, notice it's going to bring up that text box, and I'm just going to put open house. I am not going to use this for a just sold. And as soon as I click out of that, notice that we have this green bar up here that says saving. There's no save button in this system. You're going to see that the system is going to continue to save as you make changes. Every time you make a change, it's going to hit save up there. It's also telling us this warning: additional editing is required before this can be shared. Remember, I said this was going to be an MLS enabled listing e-card. So we have a button over here that you won't see that if it's not available, but here we have it. It says listing and choose it. I happen to be in an agent account right now, so she has these 3 listings that are available. The nice thing is they just added this not that long ago to show all company listings instead. You can actually search by an address, or you can search by MLS number. If you are an agent or you have an agent who's doing an open house for somebody else, it is not their listing, but they need all that information. They want to just do something quick and easy. They are able to pull in the company listings and be able to populate that information as well. It does default to just the agent listings, just to keep things nice and compact on here, but the show all company listings and being able to use those company listings is available in here as well. I'm going to go ahead and choose Summer House Drive here, just because I know it has multiple photos in it. It's going to take just a second to load all that information in, and it's going to just swap out all the information. So here's that main photo of Summer House. Here's that beautiful porch scene. In this case, I'm not going to change any of this. And notice that those yellow dots turn to green. It means that I'm going to be okay to send this because I have changed all the information. Notice that that warning also changed into things I can do up here in the upper right-hand corner. We're going to get to those in just a second. Remember, I said anytime you saw a green dot, you could go ahead and change something that was in here. So if you wanted to change that photo, it does bring in all the MLS photos. If you want to change that out, maybe to a great living room shot, it only pulled in the first 2. You could go ahead and do that. These green dots here mean that they're ready and good to go. This information came in directly from the MLS, but we can also swap it out. So if I wanted to take the 311 Summer House Drive and I want to take DR and I want to turn it to Drive, I can certainly do that. And when I click out, notice that green saving button comes up here again. These are just placeholders. If I don't want to use this for this, I don't have to. I can take all of this out right here and just say something like completely renovated and ready to move in. It just means I need to use it as a box. I need to put something in there, but those are just placeholders that allow me to put something in there. Since I took the price out, maybe I want to go ahead and add the price back up here. I can do that too. No problem. Again, this is all editable. I just click into it and it's going to go ahead and bring all this in for me. I can go ahead and take that MLS number out of it. We don't necessarily need to send that out to the public when I send it. You can make any changes that you'd like on here. And then you'll notice that we have agent branding down here at the bottom. That'll be the last thing I show you, is how to adjust that profile. But we should be good to go to send. So depending on what you can do with this card is what you'll be able to do with these buttons up here. So in this case, this is telling us we have this mail button. So that means we can go ahead and email it out. If I were to click this, it would go directly to my contacts. I could send it to an individual contact or one of my groups. I can also create a link for it. That's what this means right here. So if I wanted to go ahead and share this on social media and I wanted a link directly to the finished e-card, I could go ahead and do that. I also have the ability to share directly to Facebook, Twitter, or LinkedIn in this case. So if I were to click this, it would bring me over to my Facebook account, load it up, and say, do you want to post this on your business page? Or do you want to send this to your Twitter account? Or do you want to post this on your LinkedIn? Remember, I said that some of this in here could not be emailed. It would just be printable. You would see a different button in here that showed a print icon if it was just printable, or it could be printable and emailable, depending on what it is. The other icons that you'll see here too are icons for either Chalk Digital or AdWorks, to be able to send it either to the Chalk Digital system or to the AdWorks system, depending on what it is. So it's going to give you only the options that are available for this card, and the options only show up once you have completed the card and filled in all of the blocks. One last thing of warning here, don't forget to fill in a subject line. I changed this from a just sold a card to open house, so maybe I want to say open this Sunday as my subject line. Don't forget to change the subject when you're doing this. You can go ahead and preview it if you need to and see what a live version would look like without all these little check marks on it, or you can just go ahead and send and work with this or share this e-card once it's finished. So the last thing I'm going to show you today is how to change that profile that's on the bottom of each individual e-card and things like that. If I go ahead and click the agent name up here in the upper right-hand corner, you'll see a button that says Profile. And this is where I can change some of that information. Some of this is going to be brought in directly from the roster manager. It's not going to be changeable, things like the address and things like that. But we do have things like if we want to add, some more titles onto the realtor on here, we can change our website. In this case, it should be an HTTPS. It should not be an HTTP. I encourage everyone to go in for the very first time if you can and change your time zone to New York. It does default as LA because this company is based in California. I don't know about you, but I hate to do the math on whether California is 3 hours behind or 4 hours behind and what that would mean if I was trying to schedule an e-card and what time that should go out. So do set it to New York, and that way when you go to schedule, you have the right time and you don't have to do the math on that. Anytime you make changes in this section, it is the only place where you would actually have to hit save changes. I'm going to go ahead and do that because I did change her website to be correct here. It's just going to tell you save changes. I do want to show you over here on that left-hand side that you do have the ability to connect and also add those social media icons to all of this material. If I were to click Facebook here, it's going to allow me to put in that Facebook URL of my business page. And if I hit save, it's going to add that little Facebook icon to the bottom of every e-card that I send out. But also notice I have the ability to connect to Facebook. So the first time I do this, it's going to go ahead and ask me if the e-card system has permission to be able to send things on my behalf to my Facebook account and to choose the Facebook page that I want to send it from. It's a really quick connect process, and that'll enable those that Facebook share icon on the upper right-hand side of that e-card. Same thing for Twitter. I can add my Twitter URL. It'll add that icon to the bottom of all my e-cards I send out, and I have the ability to connect directly to Twitter. And here's one that's actually connected already. So I could go ahead and put my LinkedIn profile in here. Again, that icon would show up on the bottom of any materials I was making, but I have the ability to connect my LinkedIn account. In this case, Gail has actually connected her LinkedIn account. So if she were to connect the LinkedIn, or she were to click the LinkedIn button at the top of that e-card, she could share it direct to her LinkedIn account very easily. Couple of other icons that you can put on here. You can do YouTube. We don't have the ability to connect directly to YouTube in this case, but you can put a link to that at the bottom of any of your e-cards. The same with Instagram, and then the same with Pinterest. Just a quick note about Instagram. Instagram right now does not allow any third-party company to share directly to Instagram. We're hoping that changes in the future. It is a question that comes up for us all the time. How come I can't share directly to Instagram? And it's not because this system can't, it's because nobody is allowed to. So if we were to share to Instagram, people can either, again, click that link to create a link to be able to send something, or be able to download, again, an image to be able to send to Instagram if they're doing anything with social. So that is the marketing resource. I am happy to take any questions you might have. Again, outside of this class, if you have any questions in the future as well, do feel free to use the help section and to contact BHHS, the customer success team here. They're always willing to help you as well. If you have any questions, just unmute, put it in chat, raise your hand. Happy to answer any questions. No questions today. All right. Well, I thank you all for coming. I hope you enjoyed this class and learned something about marketing resource. Again, if you need help, you're welcome to use the resources here in marketing resource or BHHS resource, or feel free to email us at any time at websupport@bhhstown.com. We'll be happy to answer any questions at any time. Thank you so much.